Hi everybody, welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe. We are so glad you are here today. We are going to actually work on putting tribe building into practice in this episode, and we're going to lay out, give you some stories and some examples, but also we're going to leave you at the end with a strategy to implement today, this week, this month, this summer, that will take your tribe building to a whole new level. Welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe. My name is Brenda.
And I am Michelle.
And it's our mission to build a community of lady tribes, a place to connect and grow your tribe with resources, ideas, workshops, retreats, and events. We invite you to join our inner circle and become a tribe leader. It's free!
Each week, we will start a conversation about connecting within your tribe and across all of our tribes. Our goal is to create 1,000 new lady tribes in 2022. And each episode will challenge you with a call to action. The first one is to join our inner circle. Go to tinyurl.com/myladytribe. And as a gratitude gift, we will send you a downloadable copy of Chapter 1 of Lady and the Tribe, The Awakening.
Yay! So please subscribe to be notified of a new episode each week. All right, putting tribe building into action. Making a decision and making things happen that can actually change the trajectory of your life, because relationships in our life have so much power. When I wrote Lady in the Tribe, it was based upon my own experience of kind of letting go of a lot of things that were important to me over the decades that I was a wife and mother, and I'm still a wife and mother. Didn't let go of that, but I realized at one point that I had really kind of just neglected other areas of my life, and my friendships, although they were still there, they had not grown in depth in some time, and I did not feel like I was really understood, seen in a deep way in the reality that was my life. And when I had that moment of clarity, that's when I decided I needed to do some tribe building. And I started off with just the connections that I already had, the friendships that I already had, and made an intention to see these women more often and do things and build history and build memories and let them in on some of the junk that was going on in my life. And long story short, after 5 years of this, it became to a point where I really felt enormously better. I felt like I knew how I fit into the world. I knew I had a future. I knew that even though my momager role was going to be diminishing, that I had so much more. And it's really all due to my friendships and relationships. And that's why I wrote Lady in the Tribe. And it's been out just for about, I don't know, not even quite a year yet. But I asked Michelle, who is one of my very best friends, to write the foreword, because she and I had talked about the meaning of tribe and how we kind of created that for ourselves, and how it relates to the real world tribes. And so she is a beautiful writer, and I'm encouraging her on her book right now. But she did a great job with the foreword, and I just wanted to turn it over to Michelle a little here, because she took this message and grew it for herself and grew it in a practice that we would love to see expand throughout the world, because it is so powerful, the relationships that we and the connections that we create. So what did you do when you got your hands on this book, Lady in the Tribe?
Wow.
I'll just let you have it in your hand.
Thank you. Yeah, the foreword and the opportunity to write this with Brenda, and to be part of the chapters and part of the friendship stories that are portrayed in the book. They're real, and I told my story a little bit in the foreword, how the word tribe has special meaning to me and something that I feel has to be respected. And I wanted to use my own journey of finding my tribe, and literally my Lakota tribe, to the path I took in life to find it. And it led me to recall a group of friends, childhood friends, who I mostly wanted to fit in with, to be accepted by, and to do life and grow up with. And over the course of the months since Lady in the Tribe has been written and shared with all of those friends, it has been a catalyst for us reconnecting way into our childhood, and also reconnecting and rebuilding our already strong memories and friendships together now in the modern tribe. And that's what we want to share with you a bit today, of how that's going.
So what did you do? You know, I remember at the book launch party, she grabbed like 20 copies. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And she says, I'm taking these to Texas, right?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, yay, let me know how that goes. So what did you do?
Well, I did take a bunch of books to Texas, and I took them there to my hometown in North Texas, where my childhood friends and tribe there lives. And these were a group of girlfriends from probably about the 7th grade, that awkward middle school age where everybody's trying to fit in, and also into a very conservative and old-time culture. And in the foreword, I talk about how our town was literally still segregated, right down the middle for the right side or the wrong side of the tracks. And I was a wrong side of the tracks girl, and all of these girls were the right side of the tracks. And so we found each other again, and I was able to bring everyone together with a great excuse that I had a gift for them, and I wanted to share, because it was them that I was talking about. You know who you are. It was you that I was talking about in the foreword, and the love that you showed, and how much this tribe, this Texas tribe, means to me. And so that's why I took it on the road.
I love it. And that's just a great example of how we can have more than one tribe. You're going to have your local tribe of besties that you're running with on a regular basis. And then in different situations, you're going to have different groups that click in that way, that have their own tribal essence. So you introduce the book, and it doesn't have to be Lady in the Tribe. It can be any book. We've read together some great books, like A Tribe Called Bliss by Lori Harder, which we really much enjoyed, and we'll be referring to in some later episodes. Our next book's going to be Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. But it's really, we love reading the books, but it's caused us to create something that we have to get together for, because busy lives will take us in different directions. But I digress. You presented the book, and from the stories you tell me, these women were almost hungry for this connection, and they have become this bionic tribe, is what I would call it, from the stories that Michelle's sharing with me. So what happened, and why do you think that is?
Wow, well, the technical way that we got together after just circulating the gift and talking about sort of where we had all been since 7th grade was by setting a date once a month, and that we would get together. And that was a big commitment on my part, because I was traveling and am traveling at least once a month from where we live in Colorado to Texas to be there with them. And with me taking that step to hold the space for our tribe time, they have showed up anytime that I'm there. So first thing first is setting the date and holding that space. And the second thing that we did was to start to talk about the tribe concepts as we laid them out, or as Brenda lays them out, really in the book, and just using those concepts to guide our conversations. First conversation out of the bat was essentially, where have you been all my life? And where have you gone forward? And what tribes, what circles of people are you with now? And so that's where we started. Okay. Holding space and covering, not like a book club chapter by all means, but more so what came up for you as you shared this with me, that I'm sharing with you.
Awesome. And I think you started all kind of with a women who wine concept, or a women who tea, or a women who
water,
knit, whatever it might be, but a weekly excuse to get together, a monthly excuse to get together.
Yes.
And at one point we really need to spell out how to do this, because we do want that concept duplicated across the world. And if it could be the third Thursday, if we could all do it on the same day, wouldn't that be amazing if we all around the world had it the same day? That would just be the energy, the positive energy that we would be
start to be a holiday.
Oh my gosh, it would be out there. So it started with that, but I think you told me about a recent experience. Actually, it's pretty recent. Getting together with your tribe, and
it's fresh.
It's fresh, and it's powerful. And I'm just going to lay that there with you.
Okay, well,
take it away.
I have my tissue ready, because I imagine all of you hearing this and feeling exactly the same way that I do. But the gist of the story is that the group of friends who were together from the time we were in about 7th grade until high school graduation decided that we would go as a group to visit the church camp that we grew up with every summer as we were becoming young women and adults and growing our spiritual lives and just really becoming who we were going to be. And so we made a field trip and we met, and first stop was a photo opportunity at the church where we are all from. One of my favorite pictures at that stop was when we all raised our hand if we had been married at this church at least once. And of the group of us, almost all of us had, except for the girlfriend who got married on a game show. That's also for another episode. Okay. But she had a good excuse. But for the most part, we had not realized how much this place, just like cultural tribes, how much this place was sacred to us and how much it brought us together. And then we moved on to the youth camp up in Oklahoma, where we had gone every summer, and we just took over that whole space. We rang the bell in an opening and closing ceremonies. We went to the mess hall. We stopped by the trading post where we had bought our sugary sodas. We just reminisced and wandered and stopped for photo opportunities here and there, and just let the memories come through that bound us.
Awesome. Yeah. And you mentioned to me that there was one friend that you had been unable to really connect with. They had been available up to this point. And with the foreground that the most of you had been on this tribe seeking, tribe building, plan together for months. Mm-hmm. And having one of your old tribe members enter the equation again, and how powerful that was, especially in hindsight of having this connection having been fortified over the past few months.
Yeah.
Share that part of the story, would you?
Well, Yeah, so one of our girls from childhood, we had not seen, nobody really had been tightly connected from this group for years and years. And she had experienced a really tough loss in her life. And I mean, fresh and recent. And she really was just wandering, and she wandered into the circle. And it was such a great excuse for us to be able to wrap our arms around her at the moment that she needed it most. And while we were there on the property, we did all kinds of fun things that reminded us of when we were little. Like, we literally took pictures recreating poses and things we had done as kids, and then a whole bunch of old ladies doing the same thing. Exactly. And we went around in our circle, and we just caught up with what happened to you, where have you been, and we each got to hear each other's story and tune in really to where you are now. And we even were able to do a ceremony that helped us to commemorate the loss that she had experienced. And I was able to bring in a throwing roses ceremony that is part of my tribal culture, and a way to sacrifice and honor something very beautiful like fresh rose petals, and just give everybody a chance to spend their own time in their own way, seeking out their own memories and just littering their special, thoughtful spots and chapels and lakes and rooms around, and in honor and memory of some of those who were no longer with us. And so as we did that, it was just a special memory for not only her, who was experiencing the loss of her brother, one of our very close friends as we were growing up too, who'd been to camp with us for all those years. And what struck me about that, and I think what you may want me to share, is how bonding that experience was, and how much our awareness raised that as each of us had independently wandered and walked and thrown our rose petals into the universe in memory, as we regathered and walked away, it seemed like the entire property was littered with rose petals. We didn't know where each other had gone or where we'd been, but as we gathered and walked away, it was like our little sacrifices, our little blessings, our memories, everything that we had honored about the place and the group just was standing out. And there seemed like a million rose petals, not just the dozen that we started with.
And that just represents a million memories of things, of connections that kind of had been disconnected maybe for a period. And just for everyone's backstory, before you initiated this reuniting the tribe from many years past, I mean, how many years had it been for most of the women?
Oh, we guessed that, we had little circles of 2s and 3s, and I can't take credit for initiating the field trip because I have to give credit where that is. It's our always tribe leader since we were kids did that part for us. But for one, we guessed that it had been, we talked later, and we guessed that it had been 40 years since we had one-on-one spent time with each other, and we recalled our memories of each other as girls, as young girls, and we saw each other as that same innocent, scared child, and I'll tell you, this girl and I couldn't have been farther apart growing up from an economic perspective or a social status perspective, but in this sort of magical moment of reuniting, we had always been best friends, and we never missed a day. And no matter what a person's circumstances, how humble their beginning or how affluent, it just showed us that here we are all these years later as complete equals who still need each other at that soul level. And so it was just quite an honor to get to be reunited with her.
It's beautiful.
40 years.
40 years. That's amazing. It's incredible. And doesn't it give us all hope that it's not too late for any of us to rekindle those relationships?
Take a field trip.
And it goes to show also how powerful our history is. 40 years ago, you were a clan, a clique, whatever it was. Cliques can turn into tribes.
Yes.
Tribes are not cliques. But being able to revisit that, and you're still the same women, but you're so different. So much more. So powerful.
I just was impressed by, we all walked in to this lonely and a hole in our soul where our girls used to be. And we walked away, I describe it as loaves and fishes, because we walked away so much more multiplied, so much more spiritually fed, so loved, that it made all the airline flights and all the investments of time and all those hours invested in bringing a group of people together and going forward now, so worth it. And to know that we are needed, and there's someone out there who you may not have any idea where they've been for the last 40 years, but they need you, they need that circle, and they need to be seen and heard again in the comfort of that tribal sacred place. And that made it all worth it. And I was so grateful to you for letting me be a part of it.
Well, and thank you for hugging the book. I love that. For those of you on podcast. So, we just want to leave you with a little bit of a challenge. We always say we want to send you off with a takeaway, an actionable item. And it doesn't have to involve book club around Lady in the Tribe, although I highly recommend it.
Go for it.
But find an excuse to reconnect. Who do you have some fond memories of from 20, 30, 40 years ago that you just haven't been able to keep up with, other than maybe some superficial on social media, that really deserve maybe just a reconnect and a quick deep dive to see if you're in alignment to reconnect and build again? And with the summer coming upon us and class reunions, it doesn't have to be one of the big ones, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'm not going to say what my year is this, but make your own excuse when you go back home to wherever you went to high school, to make a few connections. What recommendations do you have? Any key actionable items?
Yeah, go where you grew up. Go where you first bonded. Go where you have something special, sacred in common, because if it's special to you, it's very likely special to them. And if it was the thread that bound you in the beginning, that it's still an important thread, an important memory, an important thing to each other now. And I would say, don't be afraid of those old roles, those old titles, who was popular, who wasn't, what they thought of you, what you think they thought of you, that they liked you, they didn't like you, that was 40 years ago, and go only with the idea that I just want to know where you've been because I care. And because that gives everyone a chance to be seen, and it makes all those years in between matter.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to do it.
You better.
I'm going to do
Okay.
it. Yeah,
That's what Facebook's for.
That's right. We can find
me.
you. We're going to find you. Anyway, what a great topic. And I just really enjoyed this one. And I just thank you for being here with us. And until next time, when three or more gather, we are tribe.